What's going on, guys? Before we go into this podcast, I'm gonna record an intro because, yeah, silly me, I forgot to record an intro. But today's guest is Johnny. Johnny went viral on Instagram when he posted an emotional video of leaving Japan. I could relate so much to his experience that I decided to shoot him a message and get him on the podcast. So, without further ado, enjoy the conversation. 1 hour and a half of fun, of insights, and of lessons. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy.
So I work extremely intense in the summer period, which is about 7 months, somewhere around that. And then in the winter time, when the need for my services are lower, that's when I take my vacation. So
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
when I can go out and do my traveling. But along with the photography as well, of course, that's what make it kind of a crazy but fantastic life, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect for someone who has like an adventurous spirit like you have, right?
It is kind of like a privilege because I feel that a lot of people they want to travel and a lot of people they want to go out and visit other places, but they don't have the time for it. And for me, it's a sacrifice when other people having their regular work at home, they have their vacation, but here I have absolutely zero in the summertime, but then I catch up in the wintertime, and that I feel it's very privileged. But you have to be a little bit, you have to be a little crazy to be able to live like that. But if you can, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I can believe so. And honestly, like summers are becoming more hotter and hotter and hotter, and you can't really do much anyways in summer. Like walking outside is in the scorching heat. I've heard it from many people that sometimes they choose to stay inside. So actually going on vacation in the winter might not appear as bad of a deal as it might sound for other people, I think.
I think that more and more people are getting into just what you say now, that the summer times are getting so hot. And hear from people in the Nordic country, they are all going to Spain and Italy and Portugal and Canary Islands and all that, but it's just simply too hot in the
Mm,
summertime when we're reaching 40, 45 degrees Celsius, and it's just impossible.
yeah,
And that's also another part of being so lucky I can do this is when I travel, it's regular normal summertime temperature in Southern Europe. So you have the best of both worlds. And in the wintertime, there's not so many tourists when you're traveling
that's
around. So
right.
you have all the benefits of a fantastic trip uh, by traveling in the wintertime, at least in my situation. I know that many people have different ways of traveling, but for me, this is the absolute best.
And so let's talk a bit Japan. Was it the first time that you went to Japan?
Oh, are we gonna go to Japan now? Oh,
We're gonna bring you back.
how much time do we have? Japan was my first time this year, and it was something that, as I said, something I wanted to do for a very long time, but I was not sure on where I wanted to go. If it was going to be Japan or Malaysia or Hong Kong or Vietnam, but it ended after scrolling a bit on my phone and finding out that Tokyo was the one that appealed to me the most, or the one that drew me in the most. And basically, when I was finished working, a couple of weeks before I finished working that season, that was when I decided Tokyo it is, and booked the ticket and took off. And that was my first time to Japan. Yeah, but let me say, not the last time.
Oh, yeah. Often they say that when you're debating on whether you should go somewhere in Asia, always keep Japan for last. Because once you
That's
go to
exactly what I
Japan,
hear.
yeah.
Yeah. Never go to Japan as your first destination on your Asian trip.
Yeah. And so I wanted to ask more. So you said you were scrolling on your feed and Tokyo appealed to you the most before you went there. Why not Thailand? Why not Bali? Why did you say, oh, okay, I actually want to go to Tokyo instead of these other countries? or cities?
It's difficult to say one particular thing. I think that the overall impression I got of Japan itself was the incredible respect and consideration for other people, their friendliness, their kindness, their cleanliness, and in your feed you see all this. Everybody talks about how it is when you get to Tokyo, and I thought that was something that really appealed to me. There's this incredible thing that every time you meet somebody, it's like they are this the respect and care for other people. That was my initial thing that drew me to Japan. And then I started thinking about, I wanted to go to Hong Kong, or maybe I wanted to go to Thailand. But these two places fell in a different category of what I was expecting from my first Asian trip. So I did go to Thailand on this trip as well, but it was at the very end of it. But Tokyo was my number one, and I will never regret that I took that trip to Tokyo as my first, because it was absolutely overwhelming.
Hmm. And when was the time where you felt most alive during your trip in Japan? Like, what was some milestone in Japan where you really connected to the culture, to the country, to the people?
Oh, that's a tough one. Uh, I would say it took me about 3 days, 4 days before I, first of all, got over jet lag, because it was a insanely trip.
Oh, yeah.
But after you get over that,
How
after you
long
get
were you on
over
the
it,
flight, by the way?
uh, the flight I flew from Copenhagen to Shanghai, and from Shanghai to Tokyo, to Haneda in Tokyo, and it took around, I think it was around 18 hours.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
at that point, there was 18 hours. It's just going to happen, because it is on the very other side of the globe.
exactly, exactly.
So still, that it it basically means that I could fly from Copenhagen to Chicago, back and forth in the same trip, and go for one time here to Tokyo. That's how far it is.
Yeah.
But after, with a couple hours in the Shanghai airport, and that was a good first impression of the Asian countries.
Mm,
But after I got to Tokyo and I settled in, my very first thing was just basically out of the airport, into a taxi and to a nearest hotel, and just completely crash. And then I had 2 days in Yokohama, which is a little bit south of
mm,
Tokyo. I had an appointment that I was planning for a long time. And after that, I went into a hotel in the Shinjuku
mm.
area, district of Tokyo. And but my first, really, as you ask, when my first really, I felt like this is it, was actually back in Yokohama, when I started to get into the locals. The locals, that started recognizing me, and when you get a part of the locals, and they teach you a few words, and you try to speak their language, and you show the respect for them and their culture. That's when they
Oh, yeah.
take you in, and when they take you in, it's a completely different trip. It's not just a vacation or a travel. It's being a part of their life, and it was just wonderful.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna ask a stupid question now, and
Yep.
that is, did Japan match the idea you had before you went there? So, did it meet your expectations, basically?
Above and beyond.
Eh, eh.
I don't. There's just, when we're talking about this the way we are right now, I have a very hard time focusing on one thing, because there are so many
Oh, I
things.
get that.
And when we talk about this, I can see Godzilla in front of me, and I can
Oh,
see the
yeah.
trains, and I can see the Shinkansen, and I can see all this, and it just keeps flooding my mind with all these small, small details. But
Feel
it's
free
impossible
to
to
talk
also.
about all of them, of course.
I will. I
Oh,
will.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm all for
No,
it.
but
Yeah.
what I was really taken with is again the absolutely insane respect and consideration for other people. If you go to a restaurant and you walk in, they will help you. As soon as you open the door, all the people inside there will the staff inside there will yell and scream at you, "Welcome, welcome, welcome!"
Yeah,
And they will come meet you,
irashaimase,
take you to the table. Yeah, and it
irashaimase.
was like unbelievable. Whoa, hello. And I was sitting once in Shinjuku at a sushi restaurant, and I go in and they come and we start talking a little bit of what I wanted, and he took my order to the chef, and the chef was like, "Okay," and he looked at me like, "Oh yeah, thank you, thank you." It was just a part of something that we never, never, ever experienced here in Europe, and at that time I was studying, while I was eating, I was studying about this goodbye phrase and thank you for the meal after you
Mm,
were finished eating, when you walk up to the chef. And when I said that, I can't say that now, but when I said thank you for the meal in their Japanese, they were all like, "Oh, thank you so much." And I got, oh, it was,
yeah,
yeah, there's too much. There's too much.
yeah. What I noticed as well is that the respect is very, very mutual. Like here in Europe, when you say thank you for the meal, for them it's something that is normal, that you are supposed to thank them for the meal, and then they kind of take it as it is and they don't really say anything back. But in Japan, for them it's so important that the respect is mutual on the same level, that when you thank them and you're excited because you're in Japan and vacation and you thank them, they will give you the same and more of the respect back to you. And that's something, like you mentioned, is something we don't have in Europe. It's like, oh, thank you for the meal. Yeah, no problem. Have a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
day.
okay, no problem. Bye, bye. See you next time. It's a very casual thank you, but it has a much much deeper meaning in Japan. That's how I feel it. Just like you said, it means so much more to the Japanese. I think that also it's extremely important that we as tourists, when we visit Japan and when we go out, not only Japan but other countries, that we actually take take their traditions and take their cultures and learn a little bit about it before we get there and respect it and really respect those traditions and cultures and respect and all this they have, instead of being our classic tourists as we are here in Europe, taking things for granted.
Mm,
Um, that's what makes tourists in Japan, because there are tourists in Japan that behave very, very bad, and that makes a bad impression on others. So when tourists try to adapt to their cultures and their traditions, it is so much more appreciated, and they will give you so much more back. Just like you said, that simple thank you, but if you do it in the right way, that thank you will mean so much more to them, and you can hear when they respond to your thank you that they really mean it. They mean it seriously.
mm-hmm.
I think that's important.
Yeah. And so you've brought up a couple of differences in Europe and Japan, but let's actually dive into that. What do you think are the biggest differences in culture? Because, and by the way, how long did you go to Japan for?
I was there for 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah, same as me. Three
Yeah,
weeks is enough to get a good grasp of the real culture and not only of the face of the culture. No, you really stood there for 3 weeks, or like stood there, you traveled for 3 weeks.
yeah,
What is for
yeah.
you the main differences between European, because we can say European, because I don't think that in Europe you have a lot of difference in culture, at least not in the way of speaking and the way of doing. So, what is for you the biggest difference in European and East Asian or Japanese culture?
Wow. When I was walking in Tokyo, which is a mega city, there was nowhere I felt unsafe. I felt safe no matter where I went, except, of course, in the center of Kabukicho.
Kabukicho, yeah.
Yeah. And I actually asked the police officer, because they have police officers trafficking in that area, and I said, um, Is it really that bad in this area? And he said, you are probably in the most dangerous place in Japan right now. This is it. That you cannot be anywhere more dangerous where there's an unsafe place right now. But use common sense and you are okay. Don't create a situation and you're okay. And besides that, without outside that area, there was nowhere I felt unsafe whatsoever at any time of the day. And the back to the differences of here in Europe, uh, I don't feel quite as safe in other places in Europe as I did in Tokyo. I also felt that the respect and cleanliness of simple rules. You don't smoke on the street. You don't throw your cigarette butt on the street. You don't throw trash on the street. There's no trash cans. You know that there's very if you're very lucky if you find a trash can,
Yeah.
because people they just keep their trash with them and they carry it with them. Here in Europe, it's so easy, just toss it out the window of the car and you drive. And that's why when we're driving around, basically all over Europe, there is so much trash on the side of the streets and also on the sidewalks in the cities. That's one thing. And one thing that also impressed me a lot was when you take the subway or the metro, it is, even though the train is completely packed with people, it's quiet. There's no people there. There's no people standing on the talking on the phone or listening to music with their phone speakers. And if somebody speaks on the phone, it is extremely short, and it has to be. You can see that this is an important call. It's like very very quiet, and then goodbye, because they don't want to um, disturb other people. Back to respect for other people in the metro cards.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you say, could we go as far to say as that Japan has the discipline that Europe lacks?
we can definitely go as far as say that. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely,
At
without a
least
doubt.
in the social realm of things.
Um, there was one of the first days I was around the Shinjuku train station, and there was a Japanese family, and I could almost sense it before it happened. There was this lady, elder lady, she tripped because there was a leveling on the sidewalk. She tripped, and the other family didn't have that reaction time to see what happened before I did, because I was walking towards her, just a little thing on the side, and I instantly, grabbed her and I helped her back up again. And this entire family, when it comes back to you to say discipline and respect, the entire family, they were shaking hands and bowing and thank you so much and thank you so much. And these are the small things that, okay, maybe here in Europe we will say, oh, thank you, but it means so much more in Japan. And the back to discipline and respect. These are the two main things that will, in my opinion, set Japan so far apart from the rest of Europe. I would go as far as say for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I don't think that you would. Let me rephrase that, because I haven't been to Malaysia, I haven't been to Vietnam, I haven't been to the other places in Taiwan and Korea. But as of right now, I see that they have a discipline and respect that we don't have anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
definitely, yeah. And the eager to help other people is always there. They will help you and guide you in any way they can. And then after they help you, they will thank you for letting them help you. It's
Yeah.
just insane.
Have you ever had the bowing contest with a Japanese person where you're trying to bow the last, but they are never allowing that?
Not quite as you see on the reels on social media. Not quite as much as that, but I have had a. That was when I was 1 week in Kyoto. That was at the restaurant, because there was such a good communication. There was a good feeling between me as a restaurant guest and the people who worked there. and they were very interested and all that. And at the time I was leaving, that's when this bowing thing, they happened. And I was like, thank you so much. And they, oh, and they were like, no. And I was like, no, no. And they kept going and I kept going. And I said, I can't do this. But, you were
My
all welcome.
back is gone.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I think it was four, maybe five times. It was a little bit lower and lower. And they were smiling and smiling and laughing and just having a good time. And it was when you walk out of a restaurant or a store with that experience, you just cannot help. You just cannot help having this insanely big smile on your face
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the happiness that fills you from your entire body. Your heart is just filled with happiness and joy over being a part of that experience. That's how I felt. It was wonderful. But you're right. You do see outside hotels when people they check out of the hotels and the important people they will really go all the way down. They will really bow all the way to the ground. But it is true. It is true. It does happen. It does happen.
a little bit more about people, Nihonjin. Did you ever feel like an outsider? Did you ever feel strange in the heap of Japanese people going through their daily lives? Or did you strangely feel at home?
Uh, I never felt I never felt like somebody looked at me like, oh, just another tourist. I never felt that. Um, but there was one incident back in Yokohama, and I don't remember, there was the weekend or whatever it was, and I was looking for somewhere. I had a nice dinner, and I wasn't ready to go back to the hotel yet. I want to find a typical local Japanese place, not touristy, not this
Izakaya.
classic. And well, I found one, and I was, oh, this is gonna be great. So I walked up and opened up the door, and that was instantly met by a doorman said, "Sorry, Japanese only."
Yeah,
That was the only time I felt, wow, all right, I am a tourist in your country, and I have to respect it. But instead of arguing, respect it or say, okay, sorry, and then kindly turn around and walk away. But that was the only time I felt, yeah, I am a tourist in a different country. So,
yeah.
but besides that, I never felt like that was an outsider. On the contrary, I felt so much being welcomed wherever I went. If I went to Don Quixote or if I went to a ramen restaurant or whatever it was, there was always someone to assist me and greet and help with whatever it was.
Did you
So
go to Don Quixote a lot?
I still have that tune in my head.
Don,
I
don,
still have that
don,
Don
donkey.
Quixote. And you go into this Don Quixote and you have this thousands of small speakers and music coming from all these areas. You are brainwashed when you
Overstimulated.
leave that Don Quixote.
Yeah.
So, but you cannot go to Japan without visiting Don Quixote. And but yeah,
You can kind of buy anything. For the people who don't know Don Quixote, it's like a store where you can kind of buy everything and nothing at the same time. Sweets, tools. You can even buy watches. Like anything you can kind of think of, you can buy at Don Quixote. So
if the donkey doesn't have it, it's probably not worth having,
yeah, or it doesn't exist.
or it's completely useless stuff.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you're right. But it's even that big, that they have in the area of Shibuya, with the Shibuya crossing, they have this 24-hour open Don Quixote mega store. It is
Aren't they
ins
all
I think
24-hour open, by the way?
I don't know. Maybe they are.
Yeah, I think thing they're
Are you
all open.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't get that.
yeah,
I I only saw that when I was in the Shibuya at the 24-hour open mega store, and it is mega. We're talking like 8, 9 stories high in this corner shop, and there was just, as you know, the shopping aisles are very narrow because they have to have another shelf with a lot of stuff. But it was insane, absolutely
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
That's a good Don Quixote, very important.
yeah. It's a landmark. To which cities did you go to Japan? Because we've heard Yokohama, we've heard Kyoto. Which places did you go? Can you list them up?
Um, as I said, I started in Yokohama to 3 nights. Sorry, 3 nights, and then I went into Tokyo City, and then from there on, I went to the Meiji Temple,
Mm,
just south of Shibuya, or north of Shibuya. I
Michijigo.
went to visit. Yeah, went to the temple, and I went to um, in that area, of course, around the Shinjuku area. But it was very touristy, and I love to be more not so touristy. I want to be more among Japanese instead of just lots of tourists. But it's very difficult to do that in Tokyo because Tokyo is that there's tourists everywhere. But and then I went to the Asuka area. I went to the Sensoji
Ah,
temple.
Asakusa.
Um, Asakusa, that's right, it is. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I went to the Sensoji temple and all these
Mm,
areas in the shopping area, walking
oh,
streets,
yeah.
the restaurants, and the clothing stores are just wall in wall, and it's you
Mm.
cannot. The smells from everywhere you go, they hit you, and you. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm more hungry. It's just everywhere, and even at that temple, there was a lot of tourists. It's a very, very big, busy place, and it's actually quite big business. There's a lot of business going on because the shopping walking area up to the temple, and then at the temple where they have this sacrifice and they donate your money for the
Yeah.
temple. Exactly, and there's you clap 3 times and then you make your prayers and you bow your bow and turn around and walk away again. So even that is just like you did right now is one of those things that you have to um, you have to like understand it, realize it, and understand why they do it because it is their tradition.
Mm.
So that was a very good one, and after that I also in Tokyo went to the Tokyo Skytree, of course. That was you've been there,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So you know what I'm talking about when you go like 500, no 453 meters in 45 seconds. I think it
That's
was.
the
Shit, you're on
max
top.
one, yeah. I
Yeah,
went to the 350 where you have the nice walking area with the events inside and stuff like that.
yeah.
I didn't actually go to the highest possible one.
You didn't go all the way up. Okay.
No, no. I went to 350 meters.
But 350 meters, that's quite far up anyway. So yeah, beautiful view, absolutely beautiful view, and I liked it so much because of again, as I said, that I try to blend in and I try to not being a tourist. So when I was up there, I walked in, I sat in this restaurant cafe where you have this table where you can look out over the Tokyo city. And I had something to eat and a small bottle of wine, and I made some jokes with the people, and I started falling into conversations, and it was just a wonderful time. But there was like 6 or 7 Japanese around me, laughing and having a good time together, just because we were there and we all had an open mind instead of just being looking, taking a picture, and walking out again. It was great. I love it when you can do that. So I actually ended up going back a couple of days later, back up again, and as
Oh
soon as you walk in, and
yeah.
the waitress who was standing in Johnny, you cannot, you cannot, you have to love it when it's like that. It's one of those small moments that makes the whole thing so much better.
Hmm.
And then I also, of course, I went to the Tokyo Tower, the red and white tower,
Hmm.
which was just another tower, but there was a lot more. They told you the history of Tokyo and of Tokyo Tower in a very different way that they had on the Tokyo Skytree. So it was more like a history lesson along with a trip to the tower, which was of course much smaller. But then again, you're in Tokyo, you gotta do it. This I had
I
to do it
actually
anyway.
didn't
So
do it when
you
I
didn't
went
do
there.
it.
No, I
Uh,
missed Tokyo Tower.
I had this thing that I was when I was at the hotel, and I was like, no, you know what? I started walking. I think it was around 2 or something like that. 2 in the afternoon. I started. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna take the metro. I'm just gonna walk. It was like a 7 kilometer walk, which is it's okay. I was calculating. But then after 2.5 hours, I realized that this is gonna take time because you have there's the people, there's the crossings, and there's a red light, and there's things you have to stop and look at. You have to get some ramen, you have to get some food, you have to get some shopping. So you can't do it. So I ended up taking a taxi the last few kilometers. Tokyo is big. It is
Really
really big.
big.
Yeah. So these are some of the things I did in Tokyo, and even though I like photography, I actually, after a few days, I decided, I'm going to put most of my photo gear back at the hotel. I'm not going to bring it because it's a burden. I wanted to,
I actually had
instead
this
of,
100% the same thing like you.
you did?
Yeah, so I actually I had my camera with me, my Osmo Pocket 3, and I really wanted to film this adventure. But after day 2 only, I decided that I wanted to make the most out of my trip and I didn't film anything else.
Exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Exactly how I felt. I bought my Osmo Pocket 3 in Tokyo because
Okay.
I said, you know what? Because I'm gonna put my Nikon and put my Canon and put all this stuff away. Exactly as you said, I don't want to experience Tokyo through a lens.
Yeah.
I want to experience it
Through your
just by
eyes.
walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, just by walking around and being in the moment in the city and in this fantastic environment. And I will never regret that. And when I come back home again, I look at my memory cards. And my goodness, I didn't even take any photos. Not that many. I was expecting thousands and thousands, but the memories they're in here,
Yeah.
and they're in here, and that's exactly what they. I'm glad that you said that you felt the same way.
Mm.
Instead of seeing it through a camera lens, experience it through your own eyes, that you said. So, and that's what I did after a few days, and I think that from now on, I will probably change my way of experiencing cities like that by being there and just take a few photos. When you have those photos, move on and just be a part of what you're experiencing. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I also did. I just took photos on my phone so that I
Yeah,
could just the few time as possible be busy with I need to frame this
yeah,
and like you said just experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that's Tokyo, but you also went to other places?
Then I took the Shinkansen, the bullet train
Hmm.
from Tokyo to Kyoto, and once again, even on the bullet train, there was an experience. We're going. I think it was 300 and some 10 kilometers. I think it was. I had it somewhere on my reel, 280. I think that the maximum was 310 or something like that. which is quite amazing. From Tokyo
Very
to Kyoto
fast.
in
Yeah.
2 hours and 10 minutes, and super nice and clean carts, not crowded, quiet, as you would expect in Japan, as you have come to expect in Japan. And one of the things that hit me on that train was the staff or the crew on board that train. Whenever they walk through the train cart and they go from one cart to another, they turn around and look into the. You have seen that, right?
I did not pay attention, so I'm
You
listening
didn't
very
go there.
carefully.
Oh, but they go through the train cart, and before they leave that cart, they turn around, look into the cart, and
Wow.
take a bow
Yeah.
to that cart and walk into the next one. Every single one, every single time. I was almost getting teary eyed. I'm like, I cannot believe that we are.
Sharing a planet with these people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because they are showing so much respect for us. And we arrived uh, on the dot in Kyoto. There was not like 2 minutes before or 2 minutes after. Ding, right there. That's where we arrived. And Kyoto is also a very, very big city, and
Wow.
I can definitely recommend Kyoto. It's a different feel than Tokyo, but still you have the same basic traditions as you have there. Um, and in Kyoto they have where they have the red pillars. There's the
Torii
red pillars with
gates.
the Fushima Inara, I think it was
Fushimi
called.
Inari. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, this is going to be great. I'm just going to walk up and take a. That was a long trip. First of all, you have to walk all the way up to it. And when you get to the first gate, you don't have to walk up, 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 all the way up. This is a
Yeah.
long, long trip up. And when you finally get up on top and you look out over Kyoto City, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I am so happy I finally took this walking trip up here. Then you turn around and you realize, oh no, you are just at the beginning of this entire trip, because from here, at that point, when you have this viewpoint over Kyoto, then you have to continue in a big, big circle around in the mountaintop so you come back to the
Yeah.
same place again. And at that time, it was like 6 o'clock in the evening. So I said, you know what? There's no
Oh.
way no way I'm gonna make that.
Yeah.
But some other time. And
Yeah. We went 10 in the morning actually. So we did the
okay. Oh, you
whole
went there,
yeah.
yeah?
Yeah. That was one of the most magical moments was when we did the off track in Fushiminari. So you had the stairs with the thousands and thousands of torii
Yeah.
gates, and
Yeah.
you could actually sidetrack. I saw a few tourists going another way, and I was like,
Yeah.
why are they going off the track?
Yeah.
And we went there, and it was so magical, like very old torii gates, like wood that was like of, I would say, 200 years old wood standing there for a
Yeah.
very long time. And when I went there, it was one of the most magical moments. I mean, like you said, you like it when there are not a lot of tourists. Then, I mean, that's something you should do next time because that was completely magical.
Next time I go back, I will definitely um, spend more time, because as you excuse me, as you said in the very beginning, when you have 3 weeks, you have a good foundation of what it is to be in Japan and what it is to be in Tokyo and Kyoto. And I have already done that. I have already done that. So now I want to focus more on the details on the trip. That's how I feel. When I come back next time, I'm not going to do the same thing over and over again. I want to go even lower into detail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I want to focus more on getting out in maybe the countryside, because now I have done these classic tourist things. I've been to the towers, I've been to the temples, and I have been to these places that must go to as a tourist. Sorry. Next time I want to go a little bit further out
Deeper.
and be
Yeah.
more the countryside and see if my Japanese courses here are. So I study some Japanese before I go
Oh,
back
that's
next time.
good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. I was actually meant to take the JLPT and 5 exam this July. So I still have 8 more days. I have to go to a city that's 2 hours away. So I still need to plan that trip where I go with the train and I can sign in because they are very, very bureaucratic, the Japanese. And even to take part in a exam, you have to fill in a document at home, but you can't send it in online. You have to go to the actual office, put your signature, tell them who you are so they know who you are, and then they can send it to the embassy in Japan. So I'm gonna be looking forward to participating to their exam.
Oh, you have a Japanese exam.
Yeah, July, this July. Yeah,
Oh, that is
yeah.
wonderful. Oh, I wish I could. There's
Every country hosts exams, so you would have
yeah,
to check with your Sweden embassy when they host the exams, because for every country it's different, and they do it, I think, twice a year normally.
really okay. That was good advice. That I need to look into.
Yeah,
That I need to look into. But until then, I'm just using my phone with one of those language apps. See how that works out. At least you get a basic of it. So back again, I feel that they show me that respect and consideration. It's the least I can do to show that
yeah,
back. So when you are in Japan, you know the basic phrases and you can communicate a little bit in Japanese. And that's how I feel that the way that I can give back my respect to them and their tradition, and it shows quite quickly that they appreciate. As soon as you open up and you try, they will change the entire attitude towards you. You are not just a classic tourist if you try,
exactly.
and you show them respect instead of being disrespectful to Japanese and Japan. So yeah,
What were your
good
Kyoto
times.
highlights in next to Fushi Inari, which is one of the best things in Kyoto, in my
Yeah.
opinion? What did you experience in Kyoto worth mentioning?
I let me see. Where were we? Where were we? I was at the hotel a little bit north of the city center. Um, I spent a lot of time just basically living, not to pursue tourist places and attractions to go to. I did a lot of there's a big shopping walking area north of Kyoto with lots of samurai traditions, samurai cultures, clothings and restaurants. And again, I was that was my that's what I found. This is what I want to do because on that when I do it like that, I can get closer to the Japanese everyday life. Um, so I think that for me, just walking around, being in Japan, enjoying the shops and restaurants, and try to talk with people in the different areas. That's what gave me a great satisfaction in Kyoto as well. But of course, even in Kyoto, they have this the Kyoto Tower at the train station. So I went up in that tower as well.
Oh, you did. I did not
So
actually.
you gotta have the towers. You gotta have the
Okay.
towers. And one thing let me get 1 second. Let me just show you 1 second.
Yeah.
What I wanted to show you have a travel book
Oh, that's cool.
just like this. So every time I went somewhere, I was writing
Oh.
from Copenhagen. Instead of using your phone all the time, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna have this, and this is gonna be my travel log. So everywhere I went, I asked if I could get a stamp from the restaurant or the hotel, and they stamped it, and I wrote a little message on it. And when I got to Japan, I started being a little bit bolder and asking them. I I glued a receipt or a postcard into that travel book, and they had the cashier or the girl at the bar write a short note. And when I
Oh,
bought
that's
my
such a
fountain,
good idea.
I bought some pilot fountain. I love writing with fountain pens. So I bought some fountain pens in Japan in this shop, and I write, "Oh, please, can you write something about it?" So you wrote in Japanese, and tickets and my Shinkansen tickets and tickets to the towers and all that's like a scrapbook
Wow.
from this trip. I know that we can do this on the phone, but it's a very, very big difference than when you have this up. And as soon as you open it and people start looking at it, they're like, "Oh, I want to write. Can I write?" And then they write you a message in your book. That Japanese trip, or the Tokyo trip, or Japan trip, will always be in that book. So this is something I can definitely recommend because the Japanese, they love it when you ask them to sign or scrapbook. They absolutely love it. They're writing. There was a couple of girls in the bar. You know, they were writing anime figures and all kinds of
Really?
stuff with the 2 pages.
Wow.
So it was completely nuts. When you're like, wow, I was just expecting a little bit, but they were filling up 2 pages. Something
You
that,
know what? I'll actually do that next time I go to Japan. I'll take like a log with me and do that exact idea. Like
you
ask
should.
people to write in it, put tickets and train tickets and things. Because honestly, I totally get why you would do that. Because the moment is so special that you want to keep it with you even when you're gone.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I did things like store like Family Mart tickets in my wallet and in my desk. So this is not my main desk. I'm at my dad's place. My parents are separated, sadly. But in my main desk at my mom's place, I still have the Family Mart tickets at my desk hanged just to remember myself that there is a
Yep.
place in the world where you truly feel alive, so you have like an idea what to work for and stuff like that. But next
Yep.
time, I'll actually, that's a great idea to buy a blog book so that you can have the book on your desk. That's
Yep.
crazy. Yeah.
I bought this. Actually, this is a. They say I have another one more plain than this one, but I bought one. I don't. Which is basic. It's a dark, like a light brown pages. Nothing special. Nothing. No lines. No nothing. Because as soon as you have lines, people they will start writing on those lines. But with this, that's when they started make the anime cartoons, and they were writing all over the place, and all kinds of figures and smileys and thumbs up and all kinds of weird stuff. And I would paste a ticket or a receipt from the restaurant or whatever, a sticker from the Tokyo Tower in these books. And it's not this classic notebook that you buy in the shops, but it's a leather cover. But when you have that, it brings a little more detail to it. It shows this logbook is a little more special than my regular notebook, and people they notice it. They definitely see it. So when you bring it up, open up your fountain pen and ask them to write something. That moment is an adventure in the trip itself because they love it. They are absolutely into it. And just now, when we talk about it, yes, I was looking for it here, but I have it in Sweden. That indicates that the logbook, the travel book, is actually something that you bring memories with you back home. Written memories. I can still see the people. I can still see the cashier
Oh,
in the shop when she signs and she makes all those Japanese signs, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And I also in Kyoto, I met a wonderful Chinese young woman who's also traveling by herself. She also had a travel book, and she came up to me, excuse me, can you please write something in my book for the she was from southern China. I said, definitely. So I write my little note in her book. And you know what? Now that I've been writing in your book, can you please write something in mine? So
yeah.
we ended up just by that. We ended up going out for dinner in a sushi restaurant.
Oh,
And
wow.
but while we were sitting there eating, and I was talking to the waitress, she was writing a note in her book and tore out the page. This is for you, Johnny, from our meeting here in Kyoto. You cannot you cannot explain those moments and memories in a better way. Just open up that book, and as soon as you read that note, I can feel it, I can smell it, I can sense that moment which she was writing.
Yeah, it's
That
so much
is traveling.
different. Yeah.
That is traveling. I know
Yeah.
I'm yakking and I'm babbling along because there's so much stuff that's going
Yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, of course. And I'm happy that I found someone that had the similar experience and the same passion. Because when you try to express that kind of excitement and the memories you had in Japan, people might tend to think that we are exaggerating or something because they haven't experienced that moment and they don't know what the level of excitement is that goes on in your brain when you're in that situation.
They think you're completely nuts. They
Yeah.
think you're crazy. Why do you go? You're going to Japan. You're going to Tokyo for a week. What? How can it be such a big thing? Well, it really is. It really is.
Yeah, I think, Johnny, that our 3 weeks in Japan learned us more than the last maybe 10 years living our daily lives, just doing our jobs and things like that. About life as a whole, like how to live a life. Like everyone thinks that just working, studying, and have this normal routine way of life that it's normal. But maybe we are not meant to live that way, you know? We have been living in this kind of system for about hundreds of years, but before those hundreds of years, the thousands of years before that, humans were a lot different, and maybe they were a lot more adventurous going on vacations themselves. So who knows?
This is creepy. This is really creepy because I had the exact same thought when I was sitting on the plane. When I was sitting on the plane back to Europe, I had the exact same thought. This is, for me, Japan was a life changing experience. It completely, this has been my route for my whole life. After Japan, it took this tour. It took a serious detour in a positive way. And just as you said, when you come back home, you have a more humble experience. And when you go back home, all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, why is everything so loud? Why is it so messy? Why is it so dirty? Why is there so much garbage on the streets? Why is there so much? You notice all those different things after a couple of weeks in Japan, that how different it is. And for me, as I said, it changed my life. It changed my life. So being as soon as I came back home, I started rearranging. Okay, this, and I have to rearrange that. I'm gonna go in a different direction in my life. So I need to get rid of this, get rid of that, and focus more on what's important in life. And what's important in life to be more like the Japanese people, um, that brings them more joy, more happiness, more respect, and more consideration from other people. Without a doubt, I saw that every day as you also saw in Japan. That is a happier way of life instead of focusing on all our material stuff that we have here in Europe. So I agree with you completely. Completely.
Yeah, maybe, people can think about that, about challenging the way that, their life
Yeah.
looks like in the current moment. But tell me a bit about your last couple days in Japan, like because for me that was very, very sad. Maybe I can tell you a story and then you can tell me if you had a similar one. So in the last couple days, by the way, I didn't tell you. So I went to Tokyo, but I also went to Kanazawa in the north side, and then I went down to Kyoto, Osaka, and then I went to Mount Fuji. I had a villa there for a couple days, and then I went back to Tokyo. So when I went back to
Ah.
Tokyo, like I had the sense that my vacation was coming to an end because I came back to the point where it started.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I went to a cafe at the Shibuya crossing. You have all these cafes, right? You have the crossing and then you have the Starbucks, the things. I went to a small cafe in one of those skyscrapers, and I was looking down, and I was watching the Mario Kart cars driving
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
street. Yeah.
yeah.
And I had two friends with me on that trip, and there was someone sitting there, and I asked him, could you go one more chair to the right so that we can sit with three next to each other? And then he was so respectful. Then I gave him 2,000 yen to thank him, and then I sat there and I was watching outside the window, and I couldn't hold my tears in. I just started crying because for me, the last 3 weeks I was there were the most fun and alive weeks I felt in my whole life. And I'm not exaggerating. And the feeling that that was coming to an end was just bringing me to pieces. And I feel like you had a similar experience when you were in the airport. And by the way, for the people watching, Johnny posted a very emotional section where he had to decide on checking in his luggage and leaving the airport. And it was a very emotional moment, and people related to that because it got over 300,000 views on Instagram alone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you posted it anywhere else. Did you have a similar experience, Johnny, in Japan, your last days?
I agree with you that our difference, our way of traveling in Japan is quite different. But I also felt that it's time. We are we are actually coming to an end because after I came back from Kyoto, that was when I was planning on going back. And the last 2 nights, the last night in Kyoto and the last night in Yokohama before I went to the airport, well, absolutely, I sat at the same restaurant,
Oh, wow.
the very same restaurant I had dinner in the first night I came to Yokohama. Um, and that was when the bell rang for me. This is it. Tomorrow it's over. Tomorrow is time to leave the hotel, time to go back to the airport and go back to whatever it is I was going to. And just as you said, it was, for me, it was insanely difficult to hold back the tears. For just as you said, the way that I had it was I felt complete in some way. I have never been more calm inside of me, and I have never been using the word never, but it was many years ago. I have felt so relaxed and so happy with the situation I was in, and so happy with where I was. I felt like this is where I fit in. And back to the reel that you're mentioning, just a little sidetrack on that somebody said if you walk away or if you're in an area that makes you feel like that, that is Japan calling you. It's even difficult to talk about this right now. But I went back to my hotel, and just as you said, uh, I fell in tears. I couldn't do it, but I took the bus to the airport and ready to check in, and I found my check-in counter, and everything was like that. Once again, we have to go back and say I am fortunate to be able to travel like this. So my situation may be a little bit different, but at that moment I made that reel. There is 30 minutes before check-in is closing, and there was something, there was something I just could not put my finger on it that says you cannot go, you cannot go, and I didn't want to go. So at the very end, I think it was 15 or 10 minutes left before they closed the counter. I walk up to the check-in counter, and the lady who was sitting there, I said, "Check in." Yeah. I said, "Well, is this the plane for Shanghai? Because I was going to Shanghai and Copenhagen." Yep. As he gave her my passport, And and at that time, I said, you know what? Can I have my passport back? So can I have passport back? And I said, cancel my flight. I'm not going. I see she looked at me like, what do you mean you're not going? So no. And I'm not done with Japan. I'm not done with Tokyo yet. I'm going back. So, but you want us to refund your ticket? She said, and I said, this is a non-refundable ticket. So if I don't go, I'm losing the money. But at that point, the money was not even an issue. What was more an issue was getting back to where I felt I belonged at that time. And she spoke with her
Wow.
colleagues. She spoke with her three of her lady colleagues around in a very rapid Japanese and tell them this guy is nuts. He's not going. He's going back to Tokyo. And I knew I made the right decision when they all started laughing and not laughing at me, but laughing with me. And everybody was like, "Oh, you love Japan. You love Japan. Arigato, arigato." I was I was so overwhelmed, and I was so happy when I said goodbye and walked around, turned around and walked away again. That was the best moment in my life. I felt like this was a very, very good decision. I took the monorail and back to Tokyo. But it was a tough one. I didn't believe that. I didn't think I was the only one, of course, but I could never imagine how many people have commented on this reel on Instagram who says, we hear you, we understand you, we had the same thing. I was crying all the way back to the to my home country. I couldn't leave, and there's so many that had the same feeling, just as you had when you were sitting at that restaurant looking down on the crossing. It is just Japan calling, and I know she's calling me right now, but it really was a crazy feeling, and I can also understand, like you said, that people think that it's not possible. If you go to Japan, if you have an open mind, and if you experience and take their life and their tradition into your heart, I'm sure you will have the same feeling when
Yeah.
you leave the airport. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I don't
Yeah.
think that we are weird people. I think that it's if you behave properly and like you say you adapt their culture into your heart and you respect their way of living, you're not
Yeah.
if you don't behave like the typical disturbing tourist, they will
Yeah.
totally not treat you that way because they
Yeah.
don't want to treat you that way.
Yeah.
And like you said, it will be 100% guaranteed a life changing experience. I have
Yeah.
had many, many friends tell me that, wow, are you sure? They are like, I want to have that experience you had, but I'm not sure if it's going to be the same. But I can 100% guarantee that if you behave, yeah, it will be like that. It will be like that. I told them, you don't have to die and wait until you die to go to heaven. It's already there. You just have to work
That's a
for
very
it.
good one.
Yeah.
That's a very good one. That was a very good one. You don't have to wait till you die to go to heaven. Just go to Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I agree. And as you have seen that the even though I am not there anymore, this reel is still living, and there's so many Japanese who commented on this as well. That thank you for taking care of Japan, and people like you, tourists like you, are always welcome back to Japan. Please take care of Japan for me. We will be waiting for you, and so on and so on and so on. And it shows that even on social media, they still show this gratitude to you for being so adapted to their lifestyle and their traditions and respecting it. So even in social media today, I get comments back from this, um, and I couldn't imagine that my low count Instagram, just for nothing really, would have such an impact. but it really did, and that shows that so many people out there who have been there walk away with the exact same feeling that you and I had on our trips.
Yeah, it's magical almost.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah.
it
All
is.
right. Let me see if there are a couple of things that I want to ask, so that we can bring up the spontaneous side paths again, that I love taking so much. Um, yeah, maybe let's be a bit open-minded and be a bit critical. Do you think that feeling you had there is possible to recreate in a different country that you haven't been to? That's something that I've personally been thinking about, thinking critically. I have been to the other side of the world already, but not Asia. I've been to the Dominican Republic, for example, which is also very far away, and I did not get the same feeling that I had in Japan. So for me, I cannot say that I can imagine a same feeling somewhere else. But Johnny, tell me, do you think it would be possible? What do you think about that idea?
Many years ago, I used to work on a cruise ship, and we traveled the world. I was all over the world on that ship. I used to work as a bartender at that time. And yes, I did meet and I did see a lot of places in the world, uh, places that was everything from very aggressive to very hostile to also very, very kind and very respectful. And I do believe that in some areas of the world, yes, there are places that are still very, very kind, very open, and show great respect to you as a tourist when you visit. And one of them are actually where I live in Spain. As soon as you show um respect for their language, their traditions, and their values, but even that, it will never, ever, there's not ever be able to even reach halfway through to the level of Japan.
Wow.
That's how I feel. The my impressions, and I'm sure that whoever is listening or watching this have a different opinion, and I completely respect that. We all have different goals and
Yeah.
takeaways from our trips. So if whatever it is, somebody is completely disagreeing, I respect that, but also
Hmm.
kindly respect that these are the emotions that I am sitting with when I'm finished, because what happened to me in Japan was so had such a big impact. But as you said, if you can take that kindliness, respect, and consideration of other people and the people in your area and put it somewhere else, not in the places I have been to, not in the places I have been to. You have your ordinary, you have your everyday kindness, and just as we talked about before, thank you so very much. You're welcome, welcome, bye bye. That's normal, basic, chit chat, kindness,
When they
but
say
not in.
that, it's funny. Like for me, it what I hear from them is just thank you for your money, thank you for your money. And while in Japan, they were thanking you personally. Like for
Yeah,
me, that was like a huge difference.
that was a good that was a good way of putting it. That was a very good way of putting it. Thank you for your money, but in Japan, they truly thank you for your presence and your visit at that
Hmm.
whatever you are visiting. So it is, but that's a very good question. And for me personally, as I said, I don't think so. I don't think it. And this is why I have also, I hope and pray that the Japanese will not lose what they have, not give in. Do not ever, never try to adapt to the Western parts of society, because then they will lose what they have, which is, in my mind, was something completely amazing. That's
And
all.
did you ever think about staying in Japan permanently?
Uh, you mean besides the couple of hundred times that I was planning on looking for apartment when I was there?
Oh, really?
uh, Definitely. I
Wow.
absolutely, and this is also why I am doing quite a bit of trying to learn Japanese. So next time when I go back again in December, I will have at least a basic Japanese knowledge with me, and I could easily find myself having a an apartment. Maybe not Tokyo. I would say Kyoto or Osaka is probably those areas where I said this is where I would like to be, at least in Kyoto. So that is up on the bucket list. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, me too, honestly. For me it's a bit more, I don't know if I can say it's a bit more tricky, but I'm at the start of my life, and if I make a decision now, I think about that, yeah, maybe I kind of set a fixed path for me already. But that's because other people bring that idea on me. If you ask me as a person to person, Johnny, would you stay permanently in Japan? 100% I would. 100% I would. And I hope that I don't let other people's ideas influence me too much. But if I had to go for it, I'm learning the language right now, and I'm already kind of preparing myself to make the jump already. So I get you on that. Like, I completely understand that life is not supposed to be lived the way we are taught, maybe, and we should go on an adventure, because in 200 years we are worth all the same, just a bit of dust. That's it.
You're absolutely right. And you said something that I completely agree with. That don't let other people influence you to do something that you uh, maybe you don't know it yet, and I don't know it yet. But if there's something that I don't know, but I let other people's opinion shape my thoughts, and I end up doing something that they wanted to do, I might be going the wrong direction. But absolutely, as you said, I could easily find myself living in Japan for the rest of my life. No problem. And also, as I said, when I came back to Sweden after that trip, I instantly started, all my plans with this and that, scrap it. All the gear I have for this and that, sell it. Get rid of all these materialistic things and prepare for what's more important. And I still have that uh, comment in my head. When you feel like that at the airport before leaving, that is Japan calling you. And that's what it is. For me, that's what it is. Now I am back here and I'm working and only working to be able to go back as quick as possible again.
Yeah, I get that. I get that 100%. Yeah. Yeah. So if you could go back tomorrow, if for example I gave you 200,000 euros because I'm rich and I have too much money, what would you do differently? Because now you're thinking about staying permanently, so obviously it's not the same situation as going there on a vacation. You also already mentioned about going deeper and not wider, so the temples, the towers, and now you're trying to go deeper. Can you maybe give an idea, what would you do differently if tomorrow you could go back, ceteris paribus, everything is handled?
Wow. Tomorrow, I would probably, first of all, I would land in Tokyo and I would go back and just being so extremely glad that I am finally back again. And I would be walking around with the biggest smile in the streets of Tokyo. The people like, this is a crazy tourist. But then if we when I would probably have my mind set on finding a place to live because my mind is already there. I need a place to live. Maybe I'm not in the position where I can support myself with work in Japan at the moment, but I'm still in a position where I can say, okay, I will live here for the better part of the year, and so I would rent a car, drive around, and look for those small jewels around in Japan where you can say, this is exactly what the Japan that I was looking for. This is what I was, this is what I feel more comfortable with, what I feel best with. That's what I would do. And basically quickly establish a future life in Japan. I'm not getting any younger, so I don't have a whole a lot more time to hesitate or fiddle around. So I want to get that done, and I would do something that quickly as possible to find a place to live, find myself in a the society to be a part of the society, and hopefully with my Japanese new learned skill when I get there, and build something in Japan and float into the Japanese society as quick as possible, and whatever comes with that around, of course, which means friends, relationships, people to somehow get involved with work on some kind. It's a tough question to answer when I'm beginning to answer it because I think that my basic focus was just get there, find a place where I feel this is where I'm very comfortable with, and settle down. Um, I
If
can't go
I
any further than it right now.
if I might pick up on something very interesting that I noticed, you said I don't have time to hesitate because I'm more at the end of my life than you might are. Don't you think that maybe younger people can learn a lesson from that? Because we often think that we always have all the time in the world to do the things that we want to do in our lives, and we tend to delay adventure. We tend to delay the things we want to do. Maybe we can adapt the mindset that you are having right now because maybe we don't have time. Maybe I live less than you. Maybe I die in 3 years and you have 20 more. So, what would you have to say to people that always delay their adventures in life?
That is an easy one because I have had that. I have had this conversation hundreds of times with other people that I have been involved with. Um, to make a long story short, I used to travel many years ago, many years in my mobile home around Europe. And as I said, I actually live in Spain, even though I am working in the Nordic. And everybody says, "Oh, we would love to do that. We would love to move to Spain. We would love to have it like that. We would love to have this, and we would love to have that." But we're gonna wait a few more years until we have saved up enough money. We're gonna wait until the children are old enough, and so on and so on and so on. I know I'm taking this from Scandinavia to Spain, but it's the same thing for Japan. And I say, you know what? Why do you have to wait 3, 5, 10 more years before you do something that you say you really want to do? Yeah, because the kids are just moved away from home. And how many times a year do you see your kids? Well, maybe 3 or 4 times. It's a 3.5 hour flight from Copenhagen to Barcelona, or 4.5 hours to Malaga. What's the problem? Get on the plane and go to Spain, or get on the plane and go back to Sweden. And after this, we have started this conversation. I have four couples have gone back to me and said, you know what, we have finally found our place in whatever part of Spain because of you. Without you pushing and showing us on my YouTube channel on traveling and how it is to live and travel in Spain like that, they would never have dared to do it. So do it. If you regret it, there's it's a simple thing to do. If you regret it, pack your bags, get to the airport, and go back home. It's as simple as that. I know people say, well, it's not quite that simple, but really it is, because you are putting your life on hold for something that you don't even know what will happen tomorrow, next month, next year. So do it. There's no question about it. If you can afford it at the beginning, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message. And with that, we are coming to an end also of our fun
Yep.
conversation. It's been 1 hour and a half. Beautiful time
Wow.
to round things off. Yeah, time flows when you're having fun. That's what they say,
I
right?
know. I am talking. I warned you in the beginning. When I get
I
started
love
on
it.
this, I can go
I
on
love it.
forever.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe there's a second episode because for me, I can have this all day long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I hope that it would be fantastic if we one day meet in Japan.
Oh yeah, would be my pleasure in an izakaya.
That would be the ultimate.
Yeah, yeah, and then we can do something like this: put the camera there, the two microphones,
Exactly.
and do it in Japanese.
Exactly. That's gonna be a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very tough one. But yeah, where can the people find you? What do you have a YouTube channel, Instagram? I'll put it on the screen while
Actually,
editing.
it's this part here. I It's only on Instagram. You can put a link to it. I would really appreciate that. That would be a lot of
Yeah.
fun. My Instagram has been mainly for just basically for fun, but after this one, I realized that I need to put some more into it because I want to put some more into it. So Instagram is my place to go, and
All right.
YouTube maybe a little bit later.
All right, Johnny, thank you so much for your time. I love this. Honestly, I don't do this very often, but speaking with someone like you is, and with the passion, the excitement, yeah, I can have that any time of the day.
Thank you so much. I am honored that you took contact and wanted to talk about this because it's, as you said, two equal experiences when you're leaving Japan. So the takeaway here: go to Japan, open your heart for their tradition and their cultures, respect their traditions and cultures. Don't impose your Western style onto them, and just don't.
And also, don't delay your life, like you said. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't put your life on hold. Go do it right now.
Mm,
So,
thank you so much, Johnny.
thank you so much, and thank you so much for taking your time.
Arigato
I will see you next
gozaimashita.
time. Arigatou
Arigato
gozaimasu.
gozaimasu.
Bye bye.
Mata
Thank you
ne.
so much. Bye
Ciao.
bye.